Hi, this is Matt at State of Flux here with a review for The Boy and the Heron, the latest film from Hayao Miyazaki, who came out of retirement for this picture. And I had to ask myself while watching this movie, why this movie to come out of retirement with? I have to confess that I was pretty disappointed with this movie. And you could argue that it was like a buildup of expectation. But I didn't really have a lot of expectations going into it outside of that I'd probably like it because I'm a Miyazaki and Studio Ghibli fan. About a year ago, Hayao Miyazaki did an interview where he said that in his ideal world, he would have people go into this film having only seen the poster and hear the title, as he used to when he was a child. That was how he went to movies. And since then we've been indoctrinated with the trailer fest of the world, where every movie has a teaser, a trailer, a second trailer, a final trailer. And so much of the movie gets spoiled that way, and he said that he wished that this film didn't have that. And from my understanding, largely in Japan that was the case, however stateside that wasn't. But because that is what he said, that was all I allowed myself to see. All I had going into this film for expectations was a title, The Boy and the Heron, which doesn't really offer much, and a poster, which the poster that has been circling around is a tight close-up of the main character's face, who has a scar on his head. You see a slight image of some kind of weird fantasy creature, and the suggestion of feathers and whatnot in the upper corner. That's it. So I had no idea what to expect with this film. And maybe that was the key. Maybe that whole idea that he wanted me to have was a misstep. Now I'm going to be upfront here. Even though I was highly disappointed by the film, I wouldn't say it's a bad film. I liked aspects of it. Certainly it is a beautifully animated film, as you come to expect. The sort of painted backgrounds with the hand-drawn animation on top of it really kind of worked for me, especially in the first half of the film. But breaking the film into its parts is where it has its problem. The first half of the film really kind of meanders quite a lot, and it takes almost a full hour for you to get fully invested in what's going to happen in the second half. They spend so much time working on the characters and the relationships, which doesn't sound like a bad thing, except you come away with not much to show in that hour of time spent. And that is where I was really disappointed with that first half that just doesn't stop meandering. Once you get thrust into the fantasy world, the film picks up. However, I will also say that when it picks up, it kind of hits a lot of the same narrative beats and conceptual ideas as Howl's Moving Castle, which is a much more narratively succinct film that is far better paced. So it has this kind of redundancy quality. And then lastly, what is this movie really trying to say? There's a line towards the end of the movie that really kind of hits home about the nature of malice. So is this film kind of about the nature of malice? You would think so with how that line is delivered and how much emphasis goes on it, and the fact that it points to this scar, which seems to be a prominent point within the story, so much so that it is one of the few pieces of information allotted to you on the poster, which in his ideal world, that is all the information you have going into the film. However, malice doesn't really enter into the story much, at least from what I could see, outside of hints from World War II echoing throughout the film and those ripple effects. The film seems far more concerned with the nature of grief and time spent with those that you love or those that are in your life, or time not spent with them. However, so much of the first half of the movie is spent kind of ignoring those aspects of it, and you are kind of following a sort of solemn character who is trying to move away from those concepts, that none of these things land as they should. And that's disappointing, because I do think this film has stuff to say. It just kind of goes about it in the wrong way, and maybe that's something that's lost in translation, be it dubbed or not dubbed. And that's something that I will come around to with other viewings. However, I will say, there have been plenty of other Studio Ghibli films that I've had to watch a couple of times to get the full meaning and understanding of their film and all the different themes. But I could tell you right off hand, right away, immediately, whether or not I liked them. And this one, I had to do quite a bit of ruminating between when I saw it and right now to determine if I even did. Ultimately, I think I liked this movie. I know I respect this movie. But I think comparing it to, like, the world of Pixar, which is another, at one time, animation studio that seemed to have no real duds in their catalog, I would compare this film most to Cars, which isn't a bad movie. It's just comparatively insanely weak. And that is kind of how I feel about this film in the terms of all the films Miyazaki has directed. That said, it carries that Ghibli masthead. You get those thematic qualities that you are looking for, something that is saying certain things about the nature of our world, why we experience what we experience in our world. It just, for me, this one goes about it in a really kind of wandering way where it's easy to get lost along the way in that wander. But I appear to be in the minority. A lot of love is being hailed upon this film, and maybe it's one that grows with me as time goes on. What did you think of this movie? Did you like this movie? Let me know about that in the comment section down below. Squish that like button, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and peace.